You begin by lying still, listening to your heartbeat. What is a second, really? Where does it live? As stars twinkle above Earth's atmosphere, you gently drift into a story where time isn't fixed, but breathing. A rhythm shared between your pulse and the turning cosmos. You lie down. There is nothing you need to do, no decisions to make, no place to be. Your body rests quietly, and your breath becomes slow, rhythmic. The room grows softer, dimmer, as if the world outside agrees. Yes, it's time to let go. And in the stillness, a question floats through you like mist. What is a second? Not just the ticking sound, not the number on a screen, but the thing itself. The space between one heartbeat and the next. Between the blink of an eye and the breath you didn't know you were holding. Is time a string that stretches behind you, or a quiet tide that rises as you sleep? You listen more deeply. Your pulse, steady and quiet, becomes a metronome, and you wonder if time lives inside you, or if you live inside time, outside, far above your ceiling. The earth turns, slowly, constantly, silently. Time is stitched into that motion. Every sunrise, every orbit, every swing of the pendulum. But it wasn't always this way. Once, people watched the sky and tracked shadows. They placed stones in circles and watched where the light fell. To them, time was changing, seasons shifting, moon phases turning, the moment when geese disappear from the sky. But no one could see time, only its echoes. Now, you carry it in your pocket. A phone, a digital display, glowing with perfect precision. And yet, even now, it still feels mysterious. Because, no matter how many clocks you carry, you can still feel some moments stretch, and some disappear. Close your eyes. Let's imagine something together. You're holding a string, a long, invisible thread that unrolls from your hand behind you and ahead of you. Each knot in the thread is a moment, a laugh, a pause, a memory, a sigh. Now, pull gently on the string. Feel how smooth it is in some places, and tangled in others. That is how time often feels. Even when the clock says it's regular, your mind knows better. Time is not just measured, it's felt, and your body is full of clocks. Tiny, natural ones. Your heart is a timer. Your sleep cycle is a rhythm. Your cells divide in quiet intervals. Your brain has its own ticking, electric pulses counting forward, backward, sideways. But the most curious thing is this. Your body's clocks aren't always in sync with the world's. Take your heartbeat. It speeds when you're excited, slows when you're calm. You can feel an hour go by in a minute, or a minute stretch so long it feels like a story. So, which clock is right? The answer isn't clear, because time isn't a single thing. It's a relationship between movement and change, between space and memory. Now picture this. Two people are lying in a field beneath the stars. One is dreaming. The other is wide awake, watching the sky. They are both in the same moment, and yet their experience of time is completely different. One sees the constellations shift slowly overhead. The other floats in timeless dreams. That's the strange thing about time. We all share it, but no one lives it the same. The stars twinkle above Earth's atmosphere, but those stars are not twinkling at all. They are steady, distant, timeless in their own rhythm. It's Earth's atmosphere, rippling gently, that makes them shimmer too. your eyes dot, and that is a lesson. Sometimes what feels like change, like time passing, like flickering seconds, is really just your perspective bending reality. The stars haven't moved. You have. Imagine now being far above the planet, drifting in silence, where the earth below is round and blue, spinning slowly under your feet. Here, in orbit, time becomes strange. If you carried a perfect clock and left one on Earth, they would no longer match after a while. Why? Because time doesn't tick the same everywhere. It changes, it bends, but we're not there yet. You are still here, in your bed, wrapped in a blanket of breath and heartbeat and softness, and yet you are part of this mystery too. Every cell inside you is tied to the turning of the earth. Your body knows when it's day, when it's night, even blindfolded, even hidden from the sun. Your inner clocks would still whisper the rhythm, dot, tick tick, not mechanical, biological, emotional, intuitive. Your time is not just measured by seconds. It is shaped by experience. Do you remember a childhood summer? Think of one moment from long ago, a quiet afternoon, warm light, no urgency. Now think of a recent busy day. One is soft, the other a blur, and yet both lasted the same on the clock. Isn't always about length. Sometimes it's about weight, and sometimes about space. A second near someone you love feels different than a second alone. A quiet room holds time differently than a crowded street. This is the mystery we'll keep exploring, because time is not just about clocks. It's about where you are, how you move, and what you feel. Right now, your body is resting. Your heart is beating a little slower. Your breathing is calm, and your time is flowing softly. You are not chasing it. You are inside it, drifting on it. And so you lie in this stillness, and you ask again, what is a second, really? Is it in your chest, in the stars above, or somewhere between, in the space where your body listens and the universe answers? You'll find that time is not something you hold. It's something you become aware of. And now that you've noticed it, you begin to notice something else. Gravity, a soft pull, a presence, not downward, but inward. And in the next chapter, you'll begin to feel how that quiet force shapes not just motion, but time itself. There is a pull you've always known. It's there when your feet press gently into the earth. There when you drop a pencil and it doesn't float away. There is a quiet ache in your legs after a long walk uphill. Gravity, not loud, not flashy, just always there, a presence, not a sound. You don't often notice it, but it is the oldest companion your body knows. It tugs on your skin, holds your breath, stretches the curve of your spine, and gives weight to your words. And tonight, as you rest, you begin to feel its secret connection, not just to your body, but to time. Let's imagine something simple. You are standing at the base of a tall mountain. The air is thick with mist. Stones are cold beneath your feet. You check your watch, digital, glowing faintly. The seconds tick forward, steady and polite. Now you climb. The trail winds slowly upward. Trees grow thinner. The clouds fall beneath you. Your breathing deepens, and at the summit, where the wind brushes softly past your ears, you check the watch again. It still ticks, but not quite the same. If another watch remained below, at the base, it would now be ticking just a little more slowly than yours. Not broken, not out of sync, but affected by gravity. This isn't a trick. It's not imagination. It's relativity. The deeper you are in gravity, the closer you are to something massive like the Earth, the slower time moves for you. Not enough to feel, not enough to ruin a conversation or burn your toast. But it's real, measurable, constant. Time runs faster at the top of a mountain than it does in the valley below. Strange, isn't it? You think of gravity as pulling on apples and planets, not on minutes and hours. But gravity isn't just about falling. It's about bending space, and bending time. You can picture space as a soft sheet stretched tight. Gravity presses into that sheet like a heavy stone. Now imagine that sheet is not just space, but time itself. Where the stone sits, time is pressed down, made dense, moments slow. And where there is no stone, the sheet stays flat, time runs freely. You've felt this without knowing it. Have you ever stood inside a cave or in a subway tunnel deep underground? The air is heavy, still, and the silence feels thicker. Time itself seems to hold its breath. Now compare that to standing on a hilltop. The wind in your ears, the sun is brighter, and time, it feels thinner, quicker, like a leaf carried on a breeze. It's not your imagination. It's a subtle truth woven into the structure of the universe. Your body doesn't resist gravity. It accepts it, learns to walk with it, sleep with it, age with it, and your time becomes part of that relationship. Astronauts age just a touch differently depending on how high they orbit. Clocks on satellites tick faster because they are farther from Earth's gravity. That's not science fiction. That's GPS. Your phone only works, your maps only guide you, because those clocks are corrected every day for the slowness of gravity. So what is gravity? Not just a force pulling things down, not just something to escape on rockets or resist with wings. Gravity is the way mass tells space how to curve, and curved space tells time how to move. Wherever there is mass, there is slower time, and Earth, gentle, familiar. For a moment, picture yourself floating, not just weightless, but placeless. You are between worlds, in the darkness above Earth's blue curve. There is no floor, no ceiling, just motion. In this silence, something shifts, a thought. Without gravity, how do you know where time begins? There is no up, no down, no ticking wall clock dot, and yet, even here, the rules follow. Time still stretches and compresses based on where you are, based on how deep. Towers, rooftops, hills, and then you land, not where you started, but somewhere new. You lie down in a grassy field. A large tree shades you, and in the stillness, you wonder if gravity slows time. Can you feel it? Maybe not in your watch, but what about your breath? Is it a little heavier here? Is the air just slightly more grounded? It's not something to prove, to change lives, but enough to remind us we are not all aging at the same rate, not because of stress, not because of choice, but because of altitude. Time, as you now see, is shaped by position. This idea used to sound impossible. Einstein first described it in 1915. He called it general relativity. At the time, people thought time was fixed, the same for everyone, everywhere. But he saw something deeper. He understood that space and time are not separate. They are part of one thing, spacetime. And gravity, the thing you feel every day, is the bending of that fabric. Time slows, near gravity, not because it's damaged or disrupted, but it slows in the dip, then speeds up again. That's how time flows across valleys and peaks of gravity. Slow in the deep, quick on the rise. You live your life moving across these curves, riding gravity's shape without even knowing it. You reach for a metaphor, something easier than equations, something you can hold in your imagination. So you picture this. Time is syrup. Gravity is the bowl. When the syrup rests deep in the bowl, it's thick, still, slow. At the rim, it's thinner, gliding faster. You don't escape time. You just live it differently, depending on your place in the bowl. And what is the shape of Earth's bowl? It's round, blue, breathing with oceans and wind. It gently curves time at its center and lets it stretch just slightly near the clouds. So, tonight, as you lie in bed, closer to sea level than to sky, know that your seconds are just a breath slower than someone on a high mountain. You are aging just a whisper differently. You are feeling time shaped by the pull beneath you. This awareness doesn't change your day, but it softens it. You begin to feel how deeply connected you are to place, to weight, to the invisible lines of gravity wrapped around your planet. And you begin to see that every second you live is not just a number, but a curve, a moment bent gently by the world beneath you. And somewhere, far beyond Earth, there is something even more massive, a presence that curves time so much it almost stops. You'll visit it soon, but first, let's step inside a beam of light and see how time stretches, even without gravity. Let's go somewhere new, not with your body, but with your mind. Picture yourself in a quiet spacecraft, floating in stillness. There is no sound, no movement, just you, alone, in orbit. But in front of you, a strange little device. Tick, it's a clock. But instead of gears and numbers, it uses light. Each bounce is a moment. Each return is a beat of time. Now you reach for the controls. A smooth, silent glide through space. And something strange happens. The light, still bouncing between the mirrors. Because the ship is moving, the distance between the mirrors hasn't changed. The light is still fast, the fastest thing in the universe. But now, it takes longer to complete each bounce. And in that extra distance, that stretched out light path, time itself has stretched too. That's what Einstein saw, not in space, but in thought. He didn't need a rocket. He needed a mirror and a mind. A light clock is simple, a beam bouncing between mirrors. But when that clock moves, its time slows down. This is called time dilation, and it means that motion, simple motion, changes the way time flows. It's not fiction. It's not magic. It's not theory without proof. We've measured it over and over. Particles moving near the speed of light decay more slowly than those at rest. Time for them stretches out, just like the beam of light in your moving ship, satellites. Muons in the atmosphere, planes carrying synchronized atomic clocks. We see it every day in physics labs, GPS systems, and even in the stars. But let's go back to that ship. You're sitting inside, watching the light bounce. To you, everything feels normal. The ticks are steady. The moments familiar, but to someone watching from far away, someone standing still, your time is slower. The light ticks more slowly. So here's the question that Einstein asked, and the one that feels like a bedtime riddle. If time slows down when you move, what happens when you return? Let's try a little story. You and your twin, identical, Same age, same laugh. One of you boards a spacecraft, the other stays on Earth. You wave goodbye, and the ship launches fast beyond imagining. Faster than any human has ever traveled. Pass, the twin on Earth grows older, watches sunsets, eats birthdays, cakes. The ship returns, and when the hatch opens, you step out, still young, still fresh, still the same, but your twin is older, marked by time you never felt. This is called the twin paradox, not because it breaks physics, but because it reveals. Your journey through space, through motion, caused your time to move more slowly, not metaphorically. Literally, your heart beat fewer times. Your cells divided more slowly. Your clock ticked gently while your twins raced ahead. You are the traveler. Your time bent because you moved fast, and the faster you moved, the slower your time flowed. Had you gone closer to light speed, you could have returned to find centuries past. Nations changed, oceans shifted, people forgotten, and yet your skin unwrinkled, your voice unchanged, because time is not the same for all. It bends, not just with gravity, but with velocity. Motion is not just about where you go, it's about how you experience time while going. And this, too, is part of relativity. Einstein didn't destroy the old idea of time. He expanded it. He showed us that time is not a universal drumbeat. It's a personal melody. Each person, each object, each path moving through its own rhythm, shaped by speed and mass and place. And now you see, the light clock, the bouncing beam, wasn't just a toy, it was a doorway. Because light, the fastest thing, reveals time's secret shape. When you stretch the path light takes, you stretch the very moment it travels in, and your body, your mind, your breath, they follow. You don't need to board a rocket to feel this. Even flying in an airplane, your clock runs a little slower. Even riding a train, you are aging differently than someone at rest. It's microscopic, but it's there. It reminds you, motion matters. You are not fixed. You are part of the flow. Let's go back to your quiet ship. Now it slows, comes to rest. The mirrors steady. The light returns to its simple up and down. But something's changed. Not the light, not the ship, but your awareness. You've seen time stretch. You've felt it pause, and you begin to understand that your life, too, follows this pattern. Moments stretch when you move quickly, memories shorten when you rush, and time gives more to those who pause. So what is light showing you? It is constant, always, in every direction. It moves at the same speed, no matter how you move. And because of that, everything else must adjust. Space, time, even your understanding. You give up the idea of a single time for all, and accept the beauty of many times, each shaped by the way something moves. And in this, you find peace, because you don't need to chase time. You are already riding it, already curving within it, already shaped by its dance with light. You are not behind. You are not ahead. You are here. The stars outside the ship are still waiting. Their light travels for centuries to meet your eyes. And as you gaze back, you realize you are looking into the past, and they are seeing the future. Because light carries memory across space. And now, another thought rises like mist in your mind. If time bends with motion and slows with gravity, what happens when gravity becomes so strong that even light cannot escape? that is where you're headed. A place beyond stillness, beyond ticking clocks, beyond mirrors and beams, to the edge of a black hole, where time does not just stretch. It nearly stops. You open your eyes. Above you, no ceiling. Below you, no floor. Just a quiet hum and weightlessness. You are aboard a space station, floating gently, suspended between earth and sky. There is no gravity to press you down, no up, no down, no heavy footsteps, only soft drifting, the pull of nothing, the stillness of motion. Outside, earth turns slowly beneath you, a silent swirl of clouds and ocean, glowing softly in blues and whites. But inside you, time is moving differently. You may not feel it, but your body knows. Your muscles, unused to resistance, begin to soften. Your bones, relieved of pressure, slowly weaken. Your fluids shift upward, pooling in your face, behind your eyes and your cells. Those tiny clocks deep inside your skin are aging more slowly than they would on Earth. Not a metaphor, not a feeling. This is measurable, real. Your body, in orbit, is living time at a slightly different pace. Let's pause here. You are not far from Earth, only a few hundred kilometers above its surface. And yet, your time is stretched. Why? Because you are moving fast, very fast, about 28,000 kilometers per hour. You orbit Earth once every 90 minutes. Sunrises and sunsets blur into rhythm, and that motion, that incredible velocity, causes time to dilate, just like the light clock in the last chapter. Your body's internal rhythms are affected by your speed, but there's more. You are higher up, now farther from Earth's center. And as you learned before, the higher you are, the weaker gravity becomes. Weaker gravity equals faster time. Fast motion equals slower time. And here, both effects pull in opposite directions. They almost balance each other. Almost, but not quite. The result. Your clock, the biological one, runs just a touch slower than your twin on Earth. Not by much, but it's there. Over months in space, you would age just a whisper less. Your body would stay just a breath younger. And yet, aging isn't just a number. It's a feeling. And in space, your body feels different. Your heart no longer works against gravity. It doesn't need to pump blood upward. It relaxes. And with that, your heart rate shifts quieter, slower, more efficient. But this stillness has its cost. Without resistance, your muscles shrink. Without impact, your bones lose minerals. Without Earth, your biology drifts into a new rhythm. It's a rhythm that mirrors your orbit. Smooth, continuous, circular. But it is not natural. Not the one you evolved for. Your body grew under pressure, under sunlight and gravity. It learned to walk, to stretch, to rest. Here, those instincts float, and yet, there's beauty in it, because even in this foreign place, your body adjusts. It finds a new balance. It adapts. Cells turn over. Balance recalibrates. Dreams return. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel your legs rising slightly, not because you lift them, but because nothing holds them down. You drift in the middle of the room, feet not planted, hands not holding, just breath and motion. And in that state, you begin to wonder if your body changes in orbit. Does your mind? The answer is yes. Astronauts often describe something called the overview effect, a sudden emotional shift when they look down at Earth and realize its fragility. No borders, no war, no lines, just one planet, one sky dot, and in that moment, their sense of time shifts too. They stop thinking in days and hours. They begin to feel in orbits, in light, in cycles. You are not just floating in space. You are floating through time, and you start to see the connections. A sunrise every 90 minutes, muscles softening with each rotation, a heart that no longer resists gravity's pull. Time is not just passing, it's expressing itself through your body, through your breath, through the gentle reprogramming of life without weight. There's a quiet poetry to how your body adapts. It grows weaker in some ways, but more sensitive in others. Your sense of movement becomes sharper, your coordination more refined, your attention more focused. You begin to move with purpose, deliberate, careful, slow, because in microgravity, small movements mean everything. A touch on a wall, a press of your finger, can send you gliding across the station. You learn to respect force, to listen to motion, to live with precision. Time is no longer a schedule. It becomes a feeling, a loop. You sleep by clock, but dream by cycle. Your circadian rhythm, the body's inner clock, begins to drift. Without sunrise and sunset, your body loses its usual cues, but still, your biology finds ways to measure time in temperature, in metabolism, in memory, even in space. Your body keeps counting, and you begin to wonder if your cells feel time differently up here. Do your thoughts change too? Do dreams float longer? Does memory stretch wider? Maybe, or maybe it's just that silence gives thoughts more room to echo. You remember Earth, its pressure, its gravity, its rhythm. But now, in this space between worlds, you start to feel time in a new way, not as a line, but as a field, a gentle layer that wraps around your body and moves as you move, and you wonder if a body in space can age more slowly. If time bends even for a heartbeat, then what happens at the edges of time itself? What happens near something so massive, so heavy, that time almost stops? What does that feel like? What would your body do if even light couldn't escape? You begin to drift toward that question, toward something darker, something deeper, something just beyond the curve of known time. You are not afraid, only curious, because just beyond the quiet of this orbit lies the greatest mystery of all, a place where time does not flow like syrup, or cycle like breath, but folds inward and wait. You wake in stillness, not from a sound, but from something softer, a change you can't quite name, as if a clock inside you just ticked slightly differently. And it did, because every second you live is shaped not just by your body, but by the way time itself is kept. There's a room somewhere you've never seen, windowless, quiet, temperature controlled, no clocks on the walls, no ticking hands, only machines, metal, wires, shielding, and deep within them, the most accurate clocks humanity has ever built, atomic clocks. But they don't tick like the ones in your kitchen. They count the vibrations of atoms, pure, invisible pulses, like the breath of matter itself. Imagine a single atom, cesium, let's say. Its electrons move, oscillate, buzz in place. Those movements are perfectly regular, like a heartbeat that never skips. In a laboratory, we capture that vibration and use it to mark each second with unimaginable precision. 9,192, 631,770 vibrations. That's 1 second, exactly. That number isn't from intuition. It's from listening to the rhythm of the universe itself. And so we build clocks that listen better than we do. They don't drift. They don't guess. They don't wear down with gears or springs. They anchor time to something deeper, to the fundamental nature of matter. You can't see that precision, but you can feel what it gives you. Your GPS, your satellite internet, your phone's network sync. All of it depends on clocks that whisper instead of shout. Now close your eyes. Picture a satellite far above Earth, drifting smoothly through orbit. It carries one of these clocks, tucked inside a chamber, shielded from heat, vibration, light. It marks time as faithfully as the one on Earth. But something strange happens. After just a few hours, the satellite's clock no longer matches its twin on the ground. They were once synced, but now they drift. Why? Because the satellite up there, moving quickly and floating higher, experiences time differently. The motion slows its clock. The altitude speeds it up, just like you learned before. In orbit, the balance tips slightly. Forward, the clock ticks a little faster than its earthbound twin. Not much, just 38 microseconds per day. But in GPS, that's enough to be a disaster. Let's take a walk. You stand on a street corner. Your phone pings for satellites. Each satellite tells you what time it is with nanosecond precision. Your phone listens and measures the time it takes each signal to arrive. From that, it calculates where you are, like a dance of invisible echoes. But what if one clock, just one, is off by even a few billionths of a second? You'd be standing miles away from where you truly are. That's why engineers account for it. They adjust the satellite's clocks every second, every day. They know time moves differently in motion, in orbit, in gravity, and only by bending time back into shape can we find ourselves again on the ground. And so, time becomes a map, a voice, a signal. And you, listening to this, carry the benefits of clocks you cannot see. They orbit above you. They whisper to each other. And every time your phone says, "You are here," it's because some machine in space measured how long a photon took to find you. There's a kind of poetry in that your location, your presence, defined not by sight, but by seconds. You don't walk through space. You walk through time measurements. And here's something even stranger. Every part of Earth ticks time differently. Clocks at sea level run just a little slower than those in the mountains. And atomic clocks are so precise they can measure that. Take one to the top of a skyscraper. Run it next to its twin in the basement. Wait an hour, then compare. They won't match. Not exactly. The one higher up will have ticked just a little faster. This isn't science fiction. This is how we study the world now. Atomic clocks don't just keep time. They measure the shape of Earth's gravity, like sonar, but with time. These are called relativistic geodesy experiments, using clocks to sense Earth's bends, dips, and slopes based on how time flows. The better our clocks, the more clearly we can see the shape of space-time itself. It's like using raindrops to hear the curvature of a leaf. And now, imagine taking a clock not just to a mountain, but to the moon, or Mars, or beyond. Each place has different gravity, different motion, different time. And so, you begin to realize something profound. There is no universal time, only local time, relative time. Your second is not always the same as a second far away. But this isn't chaos, it's rhythm. The universe isn't broken, it's layered, and with the right instruments, we can hear those layers hum. You are not lost in randomness. You are nested inside patterns, echoes, structure. The clocks tell us so, quietly, consistently. So what does this mean for you? It means, when you lie still, your heart gently ticking, you're part of something vast and surprisingly delicate. Time is not just numbers marching forward. It's a message, a field, a way the universe reveals where you are and how you're moving, and how deeply you're held by gravity's hand. The more you listen, the more you see. Time tells the truth. If you know how to hear it, it speaks in signals. It shifts in speed. It bends at altitude. It sings through atoms. It's not loud, not urgent, just steady. And that quiet precision is why we can launch rockets, map oceans, send spacecraft across the solar system and know exactly when to whisper hello. And it's not just about navigation or science. It's about wonder. Because when you understand that time bends, that seconds change, that your location changes how you age, you begin to ask deeper questions. Not what time is it, but what is time doing here? What is it trying to show me? You rest now, still breathing with soft rhythm. Your body's clocks ticking gently, but above you, in silence, are satellites, clocks, beams of light, all working together to keep you centered. Time, as mysterious as it is holding you in place, and still, you wonder if clocks change depending on motion, on height, on gravity. Then what happens when gravity becomes so strong that even light cannot climb out? What happens to a second on the edge of a black hole? You are floating again, but this time the stillness feels different, heavier, as if space itself is holding its breath. You've left the soft orbit of Earth behind, past the hum of satellites and the gentle spin of home, and now you are near something darker, not just distant, not just mysterious, something that changes time completely. Ahead of you, there is no glow, no light, only a silhouette, a hole in the stars, a place where even light cannot return, a black hole. But it isn't a hole in the way a tunnel is. It's a place, a region where gravity becomes so strong, so intense, that time itself, that soft thread you followed all this time, begins to stretch, to fray, to nearly stop. Let's move gently closer. There is no rush, no danger yet, just awareness. As you drift, you feel something shift, not in your skin, but in the way time flows through you. A minute ago, it felt smooth. Now it begins to drag. The seconds lengthen, moments stretched thin, like syrup pulled across a cold plate. You look at your hands, they still move, but slower now. Or maybe everything else is speeding up. This is the edge of time, the place physicists call the event horizon. It's not a surface, it's not solid, it's not a wall, it's a boundary, a threshold. Once crossed, nothing can return, not a signal, not a light beam, not even a whisper of time. From a distance, the black hole looks quiet, still. Its edges shimmer slightly, not from glow, but from warping, because here, space bends, not gently like a hill, but like a waterfall turned sideways. You can almost feel it rushing, though there's no sound. Time doesn't just slow here, it nearly stops. Let's imagine something together. You're watching a friend fall toward the black hole, gently, Slowly, they drift toward the horizon, and just before they cross, they freeze. From your perspective, they never quite fall in. They hover there, suspended, forever slowing. Time stretches so much near the edge that from where you float, they become a still photograph, hanging in the dark. But from their point of view, they fall, they pass the horizon, they cross it easily. No barrier, no alarm, just gravity, pulling, and then, we don't know. No signal comes back, no data, no message, only silence. They are inside now, and time, inside, moves differently. So what is it that warps time this way? Mass. Enormous mass, collapsed, compressed, squeezed into a space so small, so dense, that it distorts the fabric of the universe itself. Imagine the Earth, shrunk to the size of a marble, still as heavy, still as massive, but now curved inward. The beginning of a black hole, and the more massive it is, the more it curves time around it. It doesn't just pull on space. It reshapes the flow of seconds. Light, which normally travels straight, bends, slows, loops. Even beams of light can become trapped in orbits around the black hole's edge. Imagine that, a photon, born from a star, spending eternity circling a darkness it can never leave. You begin to sense just how different time is here. On Earth, time was stable. In orbit, it bent a little. Near satellites, it danced. But here, it folds, like soft cloth gathered in your hands, like pages turned slowly in water. And as you hover close, you feel it in your breath. Your thoughts slow. Your awareness deepens. You are not afraid, you are listening. This is no place for rushing, no place for action, only for awe, because here you meet the edges of what time can do. Scientists have names for these distortions: gravitational redshift, spacetime curvature, infinite dilation. But you don't need the terms. You feel it more deeply without them. You feel the truth of it, that time is not fixed, it's shaped. And here, it's shaped into something close to stillness. And still, you wonder, what happens inside? At the center of the black hole, they say there is a singularity, a point where density becomes infinite, where the known rules of physics break down. A place where time, if it exists at all, is no longer what we understand. No before, no after, just collapse. But no one knows for sure, because no signal escapes, no memory returns. It is the most perfect silence. There is a kind of sadness in that, but also wonder, because even without touching it, you can learn so much. You can see how stars orbit it, how their light bends, how time dilates around it. You can measure the effect of something you'll never see, and that is science, and also poetry. You begin to drift back, not pulled in, but gently moving outward. And as you leave the event horizon behind, you feel time return, first subtly, then steadily. The seconds begin to shorten again. Your heartbeat feels normal. Your thoughts catch up, but you are changed, because now you've seen how far time can stretch. You've felt the edges, touched the boundary of pause, and now you begin to wonder if time bends near black holes, if it nearly stops at the horizon. Then what happens to the entire universe's time? Is it also changing? Is it slowing? Is it stretching outward, like stars fleeing from a single breath? Perhaps time isn't just bending in places. Perhaps it is expanding everywhere. And in the next chapter, you'll drift into that idea, into the breath of the universe itself, where time doesn't just stop, it grows. You're walking home. The sky above is quiet, shifting from deep blue into soft night. Each step feels steady, ordinary, but in your pocket, something extraordinary is happening. Your phone glows gently. A map hums softly inside it, but it doesn't know your path by sight. It knows it by time, invisible time, sent from space, traveling down through layers of atmosphere, whispering the truth of where you are. Far above you, a network of satellites orbits the Earth, dozens of them, each one circling at over 14,000 kilometers per hour, each carrying a voice, and more importantly, a clock. Not just any clock, an atomic clock, tiny, cold, unbelievably precise, listening to the hum of electrons, measuring the rhythm of matter itself, each second, exactly 9,192,631,770 vibrations of cesium atoms. That's how these clocks tell time. Not by gears or hands, but by the most fundamental motion the universe offers. Every satellite sends signals down to Earth, down to your phone, telling it, I am here, and this is what time it was when I said so. Your phone picks up at least 4 of those signals. It listens not for what the satellite sees, but for how long the message took to arrive. Light moves fast, the fastest thing we know, but even it takes a little time, and that time contains distance. So your phone calculates not once, but 4 times. It triangulates your position by solving a simple riddle. If the signal left at this time, and arrived at this time, and light travels at this speed, how far away was the source? For distances, for directions, and suddenly you're found, not by vision, not by cameras, but by clocks. But here's the mystery. Those clocks in space do not tick at the same rate as the ones on Earth, not even close, because time, as you've gently learned, bends in motion, and it bends in gravity. Satellites move incredibly fast. Their speed causes time to slow down, just slightly, as Einstein predicted. At the same time, they orbit far from the Earth's surface, and the higher you go, the weaker gravity becomes, which makes time speed up to forces, opposing effects, both invisible, both real, and so the clocks aboard GPS satellites tick slightly faster than clocks on Earth by about 38 microseconds per day. That doesn't sound like much, but it is, because a microsecond of light travel is about 300 meters. A few microseconds off, you're in the wrong town. If we didn't correct for this, GPS would become inaccurate by kilometers within minutes, by hundreds of kilometers in a day. So before satellites are even launched, their clocks are adjusted, deliberately slowed down, so once they get to orbit, they run just right. It's like tuning a piano that will only play properly while flying at high speed, high above the clouds. It's a dance, a balance, a system built not just on engineering, but on deep understanding of time itself. So, each time you ask for directions, you are asking time to bend, correct, adjust itself, so you can find your way. Pause here, think about that. You walk through a city surrounded by buildings, cars, people, and yet the thing telling you where you are is orbiting above, far beyond what your eyes can see. Every step you take is quietly confirmed by a signal that crossed the atmosphere. Even when you are still, Your position updates, even when you are asleep. The satellites keep circling. Even when you close the app, the system keeps ticking, invisibly faithful. It's called the Global Positioning System. But really, it's a network of time. It uses space to tell you where you are, but it uses time to do it. Because the one thing that never lies, if measured precisely enough, is how long something takes to arrive. Let's take a deeper step. Each GPS satellite orbits Earth every 12 hours. That means twice a day, each one completes a full circle around the globe as it moves. It sends continuous updates, its position, its time, and it knows its place so well because it was placed into orbit with precision, calculated to account for Earth's gravity, its shape, its tilt. Yes, Earth is not a perfect sphere. It's slightly flattened, and even that changes the math of how time flows in orbit. Your phone doesn't just listen to 4 satellites. It listens to many, then chooses the clearest, the most reliable, the ones with the best angles. It builds a picture from fragmented truths, and somehow those fragments guide you, street by street, turn by turn. But think even further. This system doesn't just help you drive, it guides planes. It synchronizes financial networks. It tracks sea vessels. It helps farmers plant crops. It tells emergency crews where you are when you can't tell them yourself. GPS is not just navigation. It's a time architecture we live inside, and like all architecture, it needs maintenance. Satellites age, orbits drift, solar radiation interferes, so Earth-based stations send corrections, tiny nudges to the clocks, course adjustments to the satellites, updates to the software on the ground. It is a living system, updated constantly, watched, balanced, all for the sake of time. And the deeper you understand this, the more elegant it feels, because at its core, GPS is a quiet miracle, an orchestra of machines, suspended in motion, each one singing seconds that you cannot hear, and yet your phone listens. And from those invisible songs, you are located in a living map built from timing alone. But the moment you feel most deeply is this: even time needs correction. Even the most perfect clocks must be adjusted for their place in the universe. Time, it seems, is not fixed. It's relative, contextual, always shaped by where you are and how fast you're moving. Einstein didn't just write equations. He rewrote our trust in time. And now, you walk with that truth in your pocket. GPS wouldn't work if the universe didn't bend. And that's the beauty of it. You live in a world where clocks stretch and twist and slow. But we've learned to listen. We've learned to compensate, to map the distortions, to find ourselves again in the curve of time. And if we can do that here, with orbiting machines and whispering light pulses, then what else can we understand by listening carefully? Perhaps the entire universe has been expanding since the very first moment. Perhaps time itself is stretching everywhere, galaxies moving away from each other, light stretching like fabric, and time not just ticking forward, but growing longer with every breath of the cosmos. And that's where you're going next. Not just higher, but wider. Not just fast, but ancient. You'll leave the satellites behind. You'll follow light as it races through expanding space, and you'll begin to feel the breath of the universe itself, not a ticking clock, but a swelling rhythm of time unfurling. You're walking. Evening light stretches across the pavement. Shadows soften. The air cools. You take a slow breath, not rushing, not thinking, just following a glowing path on your phone. A small blue dot moving through a digital map. Turn left, it says. Keep going straight. Your destination is ahead, but that dot, that gentle pulse of presence, does not come from the ground beneath you. It comes from time, spoken through the silence of space above you. Far, far above, a network of satellites circles Earth. Each one hums quietly, not with voices, but with seconds. They are not watching you. They are not tracking. They are measuring time. Only time. Each satellite carries a clock, not just any clock, but an atomic one. One so precise, it could count for millions of years before being wrong by even a second. These clocks tick not with sound, but with vibration, billions of oscillations in a single second, measured from the breath of cesium atoms. Now imagine this: a satellite sends a signal. It says, "This is where I am, and this is what time it is right now." That signal moves at the speed of light. It reaches your phone, a tiny heartbeat of light crossing kilometers in milliseconds. Your phone hears that signal along with 3 others. It compares the times. It listens to how long each one took to arrive, and from those delays, it knows how far each satellite is. It draws invisible circles, and where the circles overlap, that's you. You aren't found by cameras. You aren't found by satellites peeking down. You are found by how long it takes for light to greet you. But there's a twist. The clocks in those satellites don't tick the same as the ones on Earth. They are too fast, too high, too light, because time itself bends with speed, with gravity, with motion, and GPS. This everyday miracle works only because we know how time dances. Let's slow down. You deserve to feel this. You are standing still, but satellites above you are moving fast, more than 14,000 kilometers per hour. Their motion alone slows their time, a tiny but real effect. At the same time, they are high above Earth, where gravity is weaker. That makes their time faster. These two effects don't cancel out. They combine. In total, satellite clocks tick 38 microseconds faster per day than clocks on Earth. That may sound like nothing, but over time, it's everything. If we didn't correct for it, GPS would become inaccurate by kilometers each day. Your map would mislead. Your phone would lie. Planes would drift. Ships would be lost, all because time isn't constant. So scientists do something beautiful before launch. They adjust each satellite clock. They set it to tick slightly slower, so that once in orbit, moving fast and flying high, it keeps perfect time, like tuning a flute before a concert, like placing a dancer in the exact rhythm of the song. They don't fight relativity, they work with it. And so your phone, this tiny, ordinary object, listens to 4 space clocks, each one bent slightly by gravity and speed, and uses their whispers to tell you where you are, not by where, but by when. You may never think about it, but every time your GPS works, you're trusting that time itself has been accounted for, bent, and carefully restored by engineers and physicists who understand how seconds stretch in the sky. It's more than just navigation. It's a system that touches everything. Planes rely on GPS, ambulances, ships at sea, farms planting crops with centimeter precision. Banks synchronize trades based on atomic clock signals. Entire cities coordinate Because of this invisible scaffolding woven from timing alone. GPS is the heartbeat of a world that trusts physics more than it trusts sight. You pause on your walk. Look up. There's nothing to see, really. The satellites are invisible in the dusk. But they're there, dozens of them, circling like clock hands around a globe made of gravity and motion, each one sending light, time, truth, and somehow your phone, quiet in your palm, knows how to understand it all. That's the beauty of it. GPS doesn't work because the world is still. It works because we've learned how to understand a world that's always moving. We've learned how to let clocks drift and still keep our bearings. We've learned how to let time bend and still find our place. And every step you take is guided by those lessons. Let's go even deeper. The Earth isn't round. Not exactly. It bulges slightly at the equator. It wobbles. It tilts. Its mass is uneven. Even those details affect how time flows because clocks closer to the center of Earth tick slower. Gravity pulls harder, and time slows down. We correct for that too. A satellite passing over the equator feels different gravity than one over the poles, so its signal is different. Its time is different, and yet the system works. Why? Because we've mapped it, measured it, respected it. GPS isn't a tool, it's a trust, a conversation between gravity, light, and time, and you. You get to listen, even if you never know you're listening. Sometimes, late at night, when the world is quiet and you feel small, remember this: there are clocks flying through the sky, ticking softly so you can find your way. You walk home not by street signs, but by seconds, not by stars, but by satellites, not by guessing, but by listening to light, bent gently by physics. And that dot on your screen, the one that says you are here, isn't a guess. It's a gift from clocks that float above gravity, a gift from a universe that lets us know where we are by understanding how time bends. And now, Johnny, you wonder, if time can bend so subtly between Earth and orbit, what about the whole universe? What if time itself is expanding everywhere? Not just bending near mass, not just slowing in orbit, but stretching between galaxies. Could time, like space, be unfurling? Could the seconds between stars be growing longer with every breath of the cosmos? In the next chapter, you'll float into that question. You'll leave Earth behind, leave the satellites, follow starlight across galaxies, and listen to the soft, widening rhythm of a universe still unfolding. You are floating now, not above Earth, not beside a planet, but far beyond, farther than GPS satellites, farther than the orbit of the moon, even farther than the edges of our solar system. There is no map here, no sound, just the soft presence of stars, distant, ancient, slowly moving away. You are floating in the breath of the universe, and it is still exhaling. From the moment it began, with that first incomprehensible moment called the Big Bang, space itself has been stretching, not things in space moving, but space itself growing, not like a wind, more like dough rising, like a balloon expanding, or like breath gently filling lungs. This is not metaphor, it's the shape of everything. Let's go back for a moment, back to that first second. The universe was smaller than an atom, hotter than a star, dense beyond imagination, but not sitting inside anything. It was everything, and then, in the blink of a cosmic eye, it began to unfold. No explosion, no fireball, just expansion. Time began, space stretched, and in that quiet unfolding, everything you know was written in potential. From that moment until now, the universe has not stopped expanding, not for a single instant. Every second, galaxies drift farther apart, light stretches longer, distances grow wider, and that slow, steady expansion is the breath you now float within. When astronomers look at galaxies far away, they see something beautiful and strange. The light from those galaxies redshifted, stretched out, lengthened, not because they are moving through space, but because space itself is stretching as the light travels. A wave of light emitted. Billions of years begins its journey as blue, but as space expands, the wave is pulled longer, its color drifting toward red dot. By the time it reaches us, it has been stretched by time itself. You are seeing something that left long ago, transformed by the expansion of everything in between. It's not just starlight, it's cosmic memory, reaching you through time that has grown wider with each breath. You look around, not with eyes, but with imagination. Galaxies, clusters, superclusters, all moving apart, not flying away, but being pulled by the expansion of space itself. You are not at the center. There is no center, only distance, stretching in every direction, and the farther something is from you, the faster it appears to recede. This is Hubble's law, the idea that velocity increases with distance. But the speed isn't in the galaxies themselves, it's in the fabric of space, expanding in every direction, at every moment. Imagine dots drawn on a balloon. As the balloon inflates, each dot moves farther from the others, not because they're moving, but because the surface beneath them is stretching. That is your universe, not static, but unfolding. Now, here's something even more delicate. This expansion isn't just about space, it's about time, because time is woven into space, part of a single fabric, spacetime. As space expands, so does cosmic time, not the time on your wrist, not hours and minutes, but the underlying tempo of the universe, the ticking that holds galaxies in place, the rhythm that tells stars when to be born and when to die. On Earth, your seconds feel stable, but out here, in the long view, seconds themselves can stretch. Cosmic time doesn't flow like a river, it spreads like a mist, soft, wide, silent. In this perspective, the age of the universe is not just a number, it's a distance, measured in light-years. To see something 10 billion light years away is to see 10 billion years into the past. That's the magic of cosmic expansion. The farther we look, the further back in time we go, because light travels slowly and time stretches gently, like breath held between stars. You realize something now, your moment. This one is not small. It is built on 13.8 billion years, expanding space. You live in the afterglow of a very long inhale, and the universe is still breathing. We used to think expansion might slow, that gravity would win and pull everything back together. A great reversal, a cosmic sigh. But now we know the expansion isn't slowing, it's speeding up. Something mysterious, invisible, is pushing the universe outward with more and more force. We call it dark energy. But we do not understand it, not yet, only that it fills space and seems to grow stronger as space itself grows larger. It's as if the more we exhale, the more breath the universe finds. Not a bang, not a wind, but a quiet, accelerating hush that pulls everything apart. One day galaxies we can see know will drift so far thought their light will never reach us again. The space between us will stretch too quickly, their signal too too faint, and we, or whoever watches then, will see only darkness. The stars we knew fade beyond reach. This is not a tragedy. This is the nature of cosmic time. It gives, it stretches, it lets us witness bore, gently taking the view away, and you, floating here in thought, are witnessing it now. You are Oliviat, a moment when the universe is just old enough to be vast, but still young enough to be visible. You live at a time when galaxies still speak, that is rare and precious. Take another breath. Let the scale settle. Billions of years, billions of galaxies, a fabric of spacetime still stretching, still growing, and you, held in one sliver of it, a flicker of now. In an ever-widening sea of then, you realize that your clocks, your schedules, your seconds, your days are meaningful, but they are local. Cosmic time moves differently. It hums beneath everything, a low, slow rhythm carved into the stars. And though you cannot hear it, you are part of it. You are dancing in that tempo. Always, your moment is not separate. It is made from all the moments before it, from ancient starlight, from gravity softened by distance, from the thin stretch of photons moving since the first second. You are not floating alone. You are floating in memory. And now, if the universe is expanding, stretching not just space but time, what does that mean for the future? Will time always widen? Will clocks one day tick apart so slow lie can no longer count? A collapse, not a reversal, but something stranger in the next chapter. You'll leave galaxies behind. You'll go inward again into something in the stars, but curled into your heartbeat. You return home now, not in space, not in orbit, but inwards into your body, into the soft interior where time feels personal again. No galaxies, no satellites, only you, lying still, breathing slowly, with a heartbeat that gently counts each passing second. And even now, even here, you are moving through time. But this time isn't measured by cesium atoms. It's not sent by orbiting machines. It's not stretched across galaxies. This time is felt by breath, by memory, by the way your eyes close when you're tired and open when morning returns. Time lives inside you, and it feels different. Your body is full of clocks, your heart beating, your breath rising and falling 12 to 20 times per minute, your cells dividing and replacing themselves in quiet cycles, your sleep shifting through waves of dreams and deep rest in 90-minute loops. All of this, when you don't notice, your body knows the hour. It knows when to rise, when to slow, when to heal. This rhythm is called your circadian rhythm, a 24-hour cycle, carried not in your clock, but in your cells. Every organ in your body, your brain, liver, skin, follows it. You are not separate from the world's rotation. You are built around it. Sunlight enters your eyes, and inside your brain, a tiny region called the suprachiasmatic nucleus receives it. It is smaller than a grain of rice. When to raise your body temperature, when to feel alert, when to dream. It is your internal earth turning quietly with the sun. But here's something you've felt. In a blink dot, this is not imagination. This is perception. And perception lives in your brain, shaped by emotion, focus, and memory. When you're afraid, time slows. A second feels like many. When you're joyful, time speeds up. You forget the clock entirely. This is your brain's chemistry, changing your sense of now. Time seemed to disappear. Time is not only mechanical, it's also psychological. It has weight, texture, temperature. That's why waiting in silence. Slip through your fingers. Memory compresses. Emotion reshapes. And your internal time becomes a story told by your nervous system. Now imagine your body as a collection of clocks. Your heart ticks, your lungs pulse, your bones renew. Every 10 years, your skin every month. You are time in motion, not metaphorically, biologically, and even in stillness, you are ticking. There is time in feeling, time in forgetting. Your body knows how long it will take. It sends cells in waves, in structured phases, like chapters in recovery, inflammation, regrowth, repair, each with its own internal clock. It pulses 40 hertz when you're alert, 1 hertz when you're drifting into sleep. Your thoughts are not instant, they are sequenced. They take time. Even the space between words, the gap between questions and answers, these are part of your personal timeline, and your memories are not stored chronologically. They are filed emotionally, and each one carries a timestamp, not written in numbers, but in feeling, a childhood voice, a certain smell, it in texture, in music, in color. Your time is a mosaic made of fragments, not digits. Now feel this when you look in a mirror. You are seeing age, a record of time in skin and bone, lines that came slowly, eyes that have watched more days, but your cells count years, they count cycles, they renew, they rebuild. Some of you is brand new, some of you is ancient. You are a layered history, held together by time's flow inside your body. Even your genes, your DNA, have a clock. With every cell division. The ends of your chromosomes, called telomeres, shorten just a little. They are like the plastic tips of shoelaces. When they fray, the string begins to unravel, and so your body ages by counting down, tick by tick, division by division. But even here, the clock isn't perfect. Stress can accelerate it. Love can slow it down. Rest, sunlight, food, peace, they all speak to your cellular clock, asking it to be gentle. There is something comforting in this. You are not separate from time. You are not behind it. Move around you. It moves through you. And yet, you felt time stop, not physically, but emotionally, in moments of beauty, or pain, or awe. The world fades. Perhaps it is a reminder that time is not just numbers, but experience. And the deepest experiences transcend measurement. They linger, they echo, they become anchors in your internal timeline. So tonight, as you lie down, your heart soft and steady, your breath slow, remember, you are a clock, a rhythm, a moving melody of cycles and signals. You are shaped by sunlight, sculpted by seasons, built by beats, and still, beneath all this, a dark presence, gentle but wide, expanding even now. You lie still. The room quiets itself around you, walls soft with silence, air unmoving, even your breath becoming part of the hush. Your body, once upright and alert has surrendered to the bed beneath you. There's nothing urgent left to do, no place you must go. Time has stopped asking anything of you. Your eyes are closed, but the darkness you feel is not empty. It's thick and full, like a fog or velvet ocean pressing gently against your skin. You are not asleep yet, but you're not entirely awake either. You hover in a kind of in-between, a threshold between hours and unmeasured softness. Here, time begins to blur. You no longer count the seconds. You feel them stretch. You feel them ripple and roll over you like waves reaching the shore of your thoughts. One moment folds into the next without separation, like silk laying itself down on more silk. In this place, the edge of sleep, your brain begins to shift frequencies. Not the kind you hear with your ears, but the gentle hum of consciousness changing rhythm. Scientists call it alpha, a quieter frequency, a signal of surrender. And what happens to time here? It loosens its belt. It takes off its shoes. Time, no longer marches, it sighs. It leans against the wall and waits. They melt into each other. Thoughts stretch into long, looping trails. You can't tell if 1 minute has passed or 10. And somehow, you don't need to know. Your heartbeat becomes the new measure. And with every pulse, your body whispers to time, not now, not yet. Let me drift. You are beginning to step into a space that doesn't require hours or calendars or alarms. You are floating toward timelessness, not in theory, but in sensation. Sleep is not just the absence of waking, it is the untying of time. In a few breaths, you'll no longer need to keep track of anything. Not the day you had, not the dreams. You'll enter not even yourself, and that is where you're going next, into the soft mystery of something we call dark energy. Not because we understand it, but because it whispers to everything, from the cell in your hand to the stars receding at the edge of the sky. Didn't notice the moment it happened, the second you stopped watching the clock. There was no final tick. No farewell chime, only a gentle release. Like exhaling after holding your breath for too long. Hand, somewhere, your phone still counts the seconds. Satellites whisper updates to GPS towers. Atomic clocks hum with precision. But none of it matters now, because you have stepped beyond their reach. Time. In this place, becomes soft like sleepwear. You wear it lightly. It doesn't press against your skin. You feel space in stretching, surrounding. The feeling of now expands. There's no urgency, no beginning or end, just here. It's a secret place the body remembers. A biological memory passed through ancient dreams before the sun rose, before it set. There was only sleep, only the rhythm of stars and breath. You are not failing to track time. You are choosing not to. It stops needing to measure. This letting go is not a mistake. It is survival. It is repair. It is poetry written in neurons and pulses. Your thoughts slow down into color, then stretch into shape. And just before they become dream, they swirl, not linearly, not logically, but like smoke curling in a still room. Even the past begins to loosen. What happened today? What year is it? It doesn't disappear. It waits quietly in another room. This is the gift of deep rest, a kind of sanctuary from counting. Time is not denied. It is softened, blurred, like light through sheer curtains. You feel your body growing heavier and lighter at once. You are dissolving into the bed and rising into yourself. And as you let go of time, you begin to feel what's been hiding underneath it all. Something slower, something quieter, something. Clock, you were one. Your cells have been keeping time since before you were born. Tiny pulses, tides of energy and rest. Molecular rhythms written in the dark, long before language, inside your brain. A bundle of neurons called the suprachiasmatic nucleus still whispers to your body. As you lie in this soft half-dream, those ancient signals ripple outward, guiding your heart rate, your temperature, your hormones. You are a symphony of timing, not rigid, not robotic. Adjust. When you feel the hush of midnight, they shift again. Even your stomach has a clock. Your skin, your bones, each one part of a grand biological choreography. No one taught your body how to count hours, but somehow it knows. This knowing doesn't come from digits or dials. It comes from evolution, from the slow spin of Earth beneath the stars, from the soft flicker of moonlight on leaves millions of years ago. And so, as you rest, your breath follows an old rhythm, one older than cities, older than calendars, alerts and appointments, a world of buzzes and deadlines and blinking screens. But beneath all of that, your body has never stopped listening to the sky. In this moment now, you're returning to that rhythm. Each inhale, a gathering, each exhale, a surrender. You don't have to think your way to peace. You simply have to remember what your body has always known. Time is not only measured in seconds, it is felt in pulses, in the warmth behind your eyes, in the weight of your limbs, in the hush between thoughts. This is not about silence. Harmony needs no clock. As you drift deeper, you start to wonder what other rhythms might live beyond you. What if the universe itself is also breathing? Imagine this: the entire universe, in its first moment, was smaller than a grain of sand, a brilliant, unbearable heat, pulsing in total silence, and then expansion. Space. The universe didn't explode into something. It became the something, like breath, gently rising in a chest that had never existed before. That first breath, the Big Bang, still echoes in every corner of the sky. You lie still now, but above you, space is stretching, not with speed, but with time. Galaxies aren't rushing through the cosmos like ships on a sea. The sea itself is growing, like lungs expanding. The distance between every star, every cluster, every memory grows larger, quietly, faithfully, without noise. You breathe in, and the universe breathes with you. Light from the early cosmos still travels toward us, faint and red and stretched by time. Not slowed, not tired, just older. It's called redshift, not because red means danger here, but because light, like time, can soften. This softened light becomes a map, not of places, but of when. Every star is a time capsule. Every glance at the sky is backward. When you look up, you are not seeing stars as they are. You are seeing them as they were. You live surrounded by memory, long before you had a name. So tonight, as you close your eyes, you rest inside a breathing universe, a cosmos still exhaling from its first moment, a sky still glowing with the afterthought of its beginning. And somewhere in that breath, and yet part of everything, you are floating now, not in water, not in air, but in understanding. The further you drift from Earth, the more time loosens, like a ribbon unspooling, like a page curling under soft candlelight. There is a place, a kind of edge, where time begins to behave in strange, tender ways, near. A black hole, the pole of gravity, stretches time itself. You've heard it before, but now you feel it. Imagine you're watching someone fall toward the black hole. They fall, but they never arrive. Not to your eyes. They slow, pause, freeze. They are still moving, but from your perspective, they become a photograph, a ghost hung in space. That's not magic. That's not science fiction. Obeying mass. Gravity bends not only your path, but the clock in your chest, the seconds between your breaths, the length of your dreams. Even light, the fastest thing we know, can be held in place by gravity's arms, not broken, not stopped, just unable to leave. This boundary is called the event horizon, the moment beyond which time becomes invisible. Here, clocks are no longer trustworthy. Here, the universe forgets what now means. Everything either already happened or hasn't happened yet. But the human mind doesn't panic, not here in dreams. We know this place. How many times have you felt a night stretch forever, or blinked and lost an hour? How often has memory folded, making childhood feel like yesterday, and yesterday feel impossibly far away? Your brain is not a clock, it is a storyteller. And sometimes the stories refuse to follow time's lines. So when you think of the black hole, don't think of destruction. Think of pause, stillness, of time sighing so deeply it forgets itself. In your breath tonight, there is a trace of that same silence. A moment that feels longer than the rest. A heartbeat that almost waits just a little longer. You are you are dreaming now. Not in pictures or plots, but in textures of time. Here, the minutes don't tick, they bloom. A single moment stretches. The floorboards creak in just the same way you smell something warm, like rain and paper. But none of it is now. Your body sleeps. Isn't memory, at least not the kind your phone keeps. This is something older, more fluid. Science tells us the brain doesn't replay moments perfectly. It rebuilds them, piece by quiet piece, like a sculptor brushing dust from stone. And each time you remember, you change the shape just slightly. The past is a moving painting. But here's the strange part. Your brain waves during certain dreams begin to synchronize with inner rhythms, the same ones that guide your heartbeat, your hormone flows, your circadian tide. These rhythms are clocks, soft ones, biological ones, whispering time to you, not in numbers, but in pulses. The hippocampus, your mind's internal archivist, files sensations like letters in bottles. Some drift into the deep, others wash back up when least expected. You dream of being lost in a field, but it's the feeling that matters. The tilt of the light, the sense that you almost remember something important. This too is a kind of time, not objective. But sleep reminds us, time can't be pinned. It flows through your mind like weather. It changes with mood. It disappears during laughter. You start to feel something curious, a memory that hasn't happened yet, a shape just beyond waking, a feeling you'll carry into morning. In the space between seconds, there is no clock here. Past pulling, no future pressing, only the now, soft and slow, like breath held gently. If you could stretch 1 second wide enough, you'd see it's not a dot, it's a landscape. a meadow of micro-choices, a sky scattered with awareness. This is where consciousness flickers. Between the tick and the talk in your waking life, you rarely notice it. You rush past it like a train passing trees. Unit, the frame rate of reality. 1/trillionth of a trillionth of a trillionth of a second. Too fast for any eye. It's there. Somewhere in this tiny breath of time, particles jitter and blink in and out of being. Photons whisper across the dark. Gravity stirs in silence, and all the while your body rests, your breath flows. Blinks every so often, not in light, but in time. A pulse of possibility, resetting reality, just enough to let change slip in, and maybe that blink lives here, in this space between seconds. You don't have to believe it, just feel it, the way silence can be louder than sound. Above you, or perhaps within you, the stars swirl in ancient patterns. No ticking hands, no digital digits, just orbits, pulses, and light that took 1 billion years to arrive. Time, in the universe's grand design, doesn't march, it drifts, it spins, it stretches. You float in that realization now. The cosmos has never once looked at a wristwatch. Instead, milliseconds with perfect regularity. But even it slows, even it ages. Galaxies swirl, not in seconds. Landing softly on a telescope's lens, or your eyelash, and yet no rush. Nothing hurries out here, out here. A moment could be the lifetime of a planet, or the silence between two supernova. The universe has its own tempo, and it doesn't need your schedule. You are used to minutes, and deadlines, to alerts and alarms. But the stars know better. They live in what's called cosmic time. And cosmic time is not about now, it's about change, noticing what has changed, and what still might. A black hole waits, a nebula breathes, a comet loops, and will return in 76 years. So you begin to understand your seconds, your hours, your sleepless nights are ripples on a much deeper sea. The cosmos doesn't need clocks, it is the clock. Galactic clusters rotate with silent precision. Dark energy pushes time outward like an exhale dot, and all the while you are tucked gently into the fabric of it all. A moment inside a moment. It's told by memory. The next second waits, but doesn't call you yet. And that's the wonder. You can rest here as long as you wish, until the rhythm returns. Time is not always measured in seconds. In the scent of rain on pavement, in the way your mother's voice once said your name, in the hush of a room where someone used to sit. Memory folds time like cloth. It hides entire years in a single glance. You lay still now, eyes half closed, and feel memories rise like gentle tides. Not chronologically, no. They don't obey the order you thought they should. Your first step might follow your last heartbreak. Flows how it wants to. Inside your brain, networks of neurons fire in electric pulses, encoding experience into patterns, sound into echo. They breathe. Each time you remember something, you rewrite it slightly, add a brushstroke, adjust the lighting. You can carry dot in dreams. Memories merge freely. Your childhood room might blend with a place you've never seen. The stars outside your window might shine just like they did the night someone whispered, "I love you," for the first time. A memory hurts. Other times, it heals. But always, always, it stretches time. One memory can slow down a night. a page faded in the sun. But even then, the shape of what was there lingers. An impression, a pause. You are not just living through time. In every gentle blink of thought, and perhaps that's why time feels so heavy sometimes. You're not just moving through the day, you're holding all the yesterdays too. But now, love distorts time, you know this. One moment of holding someone pulls them inward, not in mass, but in meaning. And the room grew vast. When love begins, hours flutter, past unnoticed. You forget to watch the clock, because you are the clock pulsing, open, suspended in golden time. But when love ends, or vanishes, or drifts, even seconds stretch out painfully. Every tick of the watch feels like a door closing. You learn that time can speed or crawl, depending on who stands beside you, and science quietly agrees. Because emotion does affect perception, the brain, steeped in dopamine or sadness, literally tells time differently. A minute in joy is not the same minute in grief. A day in fear feels longer than one in peace. A week of waiting feels longer than a year of certainty. Love is the deepest clock of all. It's why we hold on to old shirts, or trace the outline of a name in our heads. It's why we remember the feeling long after the facts are gone. You are not wrong to feel time bend around the people you care about. It does, it always has, because love is a force, not unlike gravity. It pulls us toward others, slows us down, changes our orbits. And when it leaves shadows in time, hollows in the rhythm, places where something should have been. But love never truly vanishes. It becomes part of you, not just a memory, but a curve in the path you now walk. And so, even when you are alone in the room, you're not truly alone in time. You carry pieces, you echo others, and they echo you. The universe is full of stars, whose light still travels. Even long after they're gone, their glow remains. Maybe doesn't frighten you tonight. It feels familiar. It feels like a name you once whispered in the dark without needing to be heard. Clocks or memory, they speak of something stranger, something softer still, the way time bends when you love. There's a moment, a quiet, delicate one, when you're not awake, but not yet dreaming, a stillness that isn't sleep and isn't thought, but something softer. You float there, no memories pulling you backward, no plans pulling you forward, only the breath and a hum you can't name. This space, this in-between, is sacred. Your body knows it. It loosens. The muscles melt like wax. Your hands uncurl. Even your heartbeat shifts, matching some ancient rhythm that doesn't belong to the clock. Scientists might call it the hypnagogic state, a neurological doorway, the brief corridor between consciousness and sleep. It's when your brain lets go of order and begins to draw outside the lines. Colors appear before your eyes, but your eyes are closed. Shapes move, but you're not directing them. You may hear a word, a voice, one that no one said. This is the edge of the dream world, the borderland, and it doesn't follow rules. In this space, time no longer walks in a straight line. It coils, it scatters. A second can feel like an hour. An hour can disappear in a blink. You might fall endlessly in a dream, only to realize it lasted half a breath. And yet, somewhere in all this, you feel safe, because here, time doesn't demand anything from you. No alarm waits, no email chimes, no should or must or soon, only the space between. And inside that space, strange things can bloom. You might see someone who's gone. You might fly. You might speak to yourself as you once were, or as you might become. Dreams are not just fantasies, but your body does. Your breath knows. Your heart carries it. This drifting space where thought becomes vapor and logic. A waiting shoreline, the whisper before the dream begins, and just beyond this soft veil comes to the next place, where time doesn't only shift, it vanishes.